How can you tell when a relationship of any kind has legs? How can you tell when a relationship, be it romantic, platonic, friendship, work-related, with your relatives in your biological family, adopted family, whatever the case may be, how can you tell that they have any kind of a longevity potential? Well, the answer is, as with everything in life, pretty simple. And I just said it. The answer is simplicity. I oftentimes hear people, when they talk to me, that their relationship with their friends, their best friends, their wives, their husbands, their girlfriends, their boyfriends, whatever the case may be, is complicated and they have to work on it. That they have to make a lot of compromises, that they have to every day remember not to get into an argument with their friends or significant others in order for the relationship to work. And to that I say, after years of trying to make this or that relationship work, to that I said BS. What do I mean by that? I mean that the first sign that you should look for in any kind of relationship, that said relationship has the potential to last a long time, if not a lifetime, is how simple and easy things are with the person that you are having a relationship with. If you always have to walk on eggshells with your best friend, then that person is not your best friend. If you always have to mind your P's and Q's when you express your opinion to your wife or your husband, then maybe you shouldn't have married them. If you always have to bite your tongue for fear of fill in the blank with your girlfriend or boyfriend, then maybe you shouldn't be with them. Something I noticed and realized in my life, and again, I am older than I look, as I said before in one of my videos. The relationships that I was lucky to witness that had legs, that are still going and going strong, all of them, whatever they are, like I said, with your best friend, with your wife, your husband, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is, they are simple. They are honest. They do not, the people in the relationships, do not fear to speak their mind. And everything is easy. Everything is simple. None of them is looking for drama. And something that I noticed too is that every single relationship, long-term relationship that I know, and all of the ones that I'm thinking of are still ongoing, by the way. Some for more than 40 years. All of them, the two people in a relationship, have this conscious or unconscious understanding that there is beauty in contemplation, meaning that not everything has to be happening every single time. Sometimes contemplative stagnation, which is not the same as full-on stagnation, but contemplative stagnation, is the way to go. Why? Because when you are in a state of contemplating stagnation, or contemplative stagnation, you enjoy what you have. Therefore, you express gratitude for what you have. Instead of focusing on what is not working or on what could be working better, you are fully aware that the relationship you are in is beautiful, simple, and therefore you are grateful for it. You don't try to improve it Because at the end of the day, you know deep inside, either consciously or unconsciously, that perfection does not exist. And that what you have, by your standards, is already perfect. And so you don't try to change the other to fit your own narrative of what should be perfect. And you don't try to change them. You are completely happy with who they are. At the end of the day, you chose them, right? You chose them to be your best friend. You chose them to be your wife or husband. You chose them to be your girlfriend or boyfriend. So if you chose them at the beginning, it means that there were things that attracted you to them. And maybe you shouldn't look any deeper than that. Because the deeper you look into a relationship, the more your ego, yes, of course, I was about to talk about ego. I mean, when this channel is a spiritual awakening channel. So if I don't talk about ego, then what the hell am I doing? The minute you start to dig a little too deep in a relationship, your ego is guaranteed to find things that it will qualify as flaws that you will have to correct. And if there is something that I noticed with human beings, is that we do not like to be told what to do and how to think. The only person that can change us, if there is such a thing as a change, for me it's not really a change, it's a correction, if you will. And just like spiritual awakening is not discovering anything, it's just remembering that we are one with everything and everyone. And every single time the ego does that, you can bet your bottom dollar that it will have exactly what it takes. It will know exactly what to tell you to convince you that you have to improve this or that relationship, and that if they don't bend to your will, then you will, ask for a divorce, or you will cut them off of your life for stupid reasons. I almost stopped myself from saying stupid, because again, stupidity is a point of view, and what is stupidity at the end of the day. But I do think that if your relationship with, say, your best friend is great, but for some reason something is missing, right? Like, for instance, I don't know, you like walking, and your best friend doesn't like walking, and you say, well, if you don't like walking, then you're not my best friend, and I'm not gonna walk by myself. I want, a walking mate, and you don't want to go walking with me, so you're out of my life. Bye-bye. I mean, if you don't think that is a stupid reaction, then I don't know what stupid is, right? But again, to get back to the theme of this video, which will be short. I know I always say my videos are short, and at the end of the day, they always end up being like more than 15-20 minutes long, but whatever. To get back to the theme of this video, look for relationships, whatever type of relationships. Look for relationships that are easy, that, things flow smoothly, that allow you to enter contemplation instead of correction, if you will. That is, for me, the key to long-lasting relationships. Things should be easy. If you have to work on a relationship, then that relationship is not meant for you. Because it means that the two people in said relationship are not aligned. And it is already really hard, really difficult for us to align our own life, our own existence. So don't try to do it for somebody else, because you'll be wasting your time. At the end of the day, we are the own master of our own spiritual awakening, aka remembering and knowing that we are one with everything and every one of us, that we are a drop of source that chose to incarnate in this world, 3D world, material world of ours, in order to experience what life has to offer. And that is already enough work for one person to do. You cannot put somebody else on a spiritual journey. It is already hard enough to put yourself on one. So don't waste your time doing that. Now, some people will say, well, what are you doing with your videos? I'm not trying to convince anyone to embark, if you will, on a spiritual journey with my videos. I'm just making my videos as a journal of spiritual awakening, what I went through, what I discovered or remembered, and if it speaks to people, then by all means, go with it. If it doesn't speak to you, please don't force yourself. It is just a testimony, if you will, of my spiritual awakening that I'm striving to achieve with my videos. And that is all it is. I am nowhere better than anyone else. I am not all-knowing on all, whatever. I am just this simple dude who, after decades of suffering and being in mental, psychological pain, because existence was just too much for me, decided to take the bull by the horns and make my life better. And the way I found was to remember who I was. And when you remember who you are, then if you are spiritually awakened, I know it sounds pompous to say that, but words are what we have, so I'm using them, then it will impact everything in your life. And of course it will impact your relationships. And of course it will impact how you interact with people. And the reason why I decided to record this video today is just to tell you guys, and also for me to remember, because spiritual awakening is, an everyday thing. You have to every day remember who you are. So the reason why I recorded this video is for you guys to know and for me to remember that oftentimes we spend way too much time and energy on making relationships work when they are doomed to failure. And that is the biggest lesson I learned from trying to make relationships work, is that if you have to work on them, they will not work. One day or another, they will fall apart. Some people will say, well, it's not working very well, so with my wife, for instance, so we're gonna have a baby, I'm sure a child will solve the problem. No, it will not solve the problem. Bringing another life, another human being in an already flawed relationship is not gonna make the relationship better. If anything, it's gonna make it worse. Trying to bite your tongue and walk on eggshells with your so-called best friend is not gonna make your friendship any stronger, because you will muzzle yourself. And so the best thing to do, and I will end on this, in order for you guys and for me too, to remember what a real long-lasting relationship is, it's a simple one. It's an easy one. A relationship where you don't have to work on the relationship to make it work, if that makes sense. Life is too short to try to make things work when you should first and foremost work on yourself. You already have enough on your plate when you have to work on yourself. So don't add more things to do that at the end of the day will take all the energy and effort you should put on yourself on something else that is anyway, at the end of the day, whatever, doomed to failure. If the relationship with your best friend or pseudo would-be so-called best friend is doomed to failure, stop working on it and work on yourself. If things are not going well with your girlfriend because you always have to mind your P's and Q's, you always have to put up with the drama that said relationship brings into your life, let it go and work on yourself. It doesn't mean that the other person is a bad person. It simply means that, one, you are not aligned with yourself, and two, they are not aligned with you. And nothing good can come out of this. It is doomed to failure. And that is what I wanted to say about how you can tell if a relationship has legs or not. It has to be simple. It has to allow you to access contemplation without correction.